volcano. Like a volcano. Blow it up like a volcano. What you do, what you do, what you do to me? Can't you see what it means when you set me free? What you do, what you do, what you do to me? Can't you see what it means when you set me free? Another day to lose control. There's a fire in my bones. My sight gets blurry, pushing back the tears. Should take a leap of faith and face my fear. I blame it on the voices that are in my head, wondering if they'll ever be put to bed. Feels like I am close to reaching my wit's end. Holding out, but I'm about to blow it up like a volcano. Like a volcano. Blow it up like a volcano. What you do, what you do, what you do to me? Can't you see what it means when you set me free? What you do, what you do, what you do to me? Can't you see what it means when you set me free? Blow it up like a volcano.
Got drunk off your life, and I lost myself again. You hit just like a drug. This time I won't let you in. You're playing with fire. No, I didn't numb the prey, but this time I won't collapse like I did yesterday. You broke my heart once again. I won't buy the dust in return. I can't give it, I can't give it, I won't give it this time. You broke my heart once again with your breath and your breath. buenísima para enloquecerme, pero voy a draw the line. Que yo ya sé que es de ti. I got to stay away, got to stay away. Sé que como un trofeo quieres tenerme, pero I don't need no one. Que yo ya sé que es de ti. I got to stay away, got to stay away. No, 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 baby, no, 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 no setbacks. No, 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 baby, no, 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 this time. You broke my heart once again. I won't buy the dust in return. I can't give it, I can't give it, I won't give in this time. You broke my heart once again. Well, you bad, but you bad it for me. I can't give in, I can't give in. I've already run with the wolves. Far from the light of the day. I can't go back to you, I'm stronger today. Been to the dark side, I don't know. So if you wanna shoot far away, I won't go back to you. I'm stronger, I'm stronger, I'm stronger today. I'm stronger today.
There you were on the other side of the room. Place was filled, but all I could see was you. You're magnetic, captivating, and you know it's true. Sent a smile and you started to make your way through. The crowd, it grew so loud. You and I didn't even care. I never wanna get used to the sound you whispering in my ear.
At long last, we are live. Thank you, everybody, for waiting. Thanks for joining us here. Week number 2 of the Playfly Collegiate Dota season. Still takes me a little bit to get used to saying those words, as we have had so many name changes over the recent couple of seasons. But we're here to bring it to you. Another exciting matchup, Georgia Tech versus Seneca College. Both of them coming into this week kind of on surprising ground. Seneca taking their week 1 matchup and Georgia Tech actually falling to UCSD. I'm going to make sure that I'm getting these right because I have been known to be insane in the past, but it is indeed Georgia Tech in at 0-1, Seneca 1-0 in their week 1 matchup. We did watch the Georgia Tech one here during week number 1 live, and Seneca College, they took down, I'll pull it up for you right now, they took down RIT Orange, so that's the RIT A team, in their week 1 matchup. I did not actually get to catch any of those highlights, just kind of clicked through the scores at the end of last week, and with all the matches firing at the same time, it was a simulcast for the week, all 4 matches 8:30 p.m. Eastern, meant that, you know, we had a pretty jam-packed night. I believe we had 2 streams going, this one and the Michigan one as well. I was able to tune in to the Michigan one, as that one was the only series to go to 3 games, and the other 2 just got to, you know, check out the results, check out the scoreboard, and was a bit surprised. I mean, Seneca College, not to, you know, discount them at all, but they were kind of by definition a middling team in last season, and, you know, Georgia Tech as well last season was one of the powerhouse teams, ended up falling to UCSD, who was another one of those, you know, middling-esque teams. They weren't bad, but they definitely weren't the top of the top. They weren't the cream of the crop in the last season. So surprising start, and both of these teams gonna look to push their advantage, push their edge here in week number 2. Georgia Tech definitely trying to get back on track after week number 1, and really this is going to define their season going into the second game, or the second series I should say, because it's such a big deal in the early days to get your team going with some kind of momentum. Only playing 1 series a week really can be difficult to build on wins, and can be very easy to just get discouraged after losses, not play together, not want to play together, and just feel like you are underperforming. So Georgia Tech, it's going to be very important for them to get back on form, and meanwhile Seneca, they're going to look to ride the wave. I said it's hard to build momentum, but Seneca, they have to be feeling very confident after that week 1 win against RIT, and against the RIT A team in particular, because they probably already feel like they have a win coming against the RIT B team later in the season. So mentally, you know, Seneca kind of coming in 2-0 and ready to take on this Georgia Tech team that, you know, if they were going back and looking at this game, Georgia Tech definitely not in form. So Seneca going to be 100% ready to capitalize going into game number 1, and they're going to set the tone early. I think they're going to come out and be aggressive. Seneca, we're used to them picking some off-meta, off-flavor heroes, really trying to set the tempo and kind of come together this early mid-game where they don't necessarily win lanes, right? But they hit this timing and they try and roll teams with the aggression that they can bring to the table, and try and put teams out of their comfort zone. And meanwhile, Georgia Tech, they kind of historically have taken this opposite mentality where they just rely on the fact that they are going to win the lanes, they're going to have a stronger timing because they're going to come out from ahead, and they'll be able to just play a very normal game of Dota. So I think Seneca, you know, they do match up pretty well into that style of Dota where they can just attack a lane, they can pick an avenue, pick a lane to go to, and just try and run it down, try and get these heroes uncomfortable, try and get the players to, you know, force reactions, force counter moves, and that can be how you come back from these, you know, losing lanes, or from more of a struggle early on in the lane. Either way, Seneca versus Georgia Tech, it's going to be coming up soon. We're going to throw it to a quick break before we do hop in, as the teams gather the lobby, gather the forces, and get things going. So we'll throw it away for just a couple of minutes, and we'll be back with you soon. Here's some highlights from week number 1 that we were able to put together. See you in a few.
Whenever you need my love, need my love. Whenever you need my love, need my love. I'll never let you down. All my life I will be there for you. I'll always be around when you need someone to carry you. If you're looking for someone to hold, I'll be there to pull you close. I'll never let you down. All my life I will be there for you.
for you. I walk miles to get to you, babe. I don't know why I can't see you there. I've tried to get there, but every day I'm harder, and now it's break my heart, babe. I've tried to get there, and I can send this sorrow. I love you, but you do know. 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 I walk miles to get to you, babe. I don't know why I can't see you there. I've tried to get there, but every day I'm harder, and now it's break my heart, babe. I've tried to get there, and I can send this sorrow. I love you, but you do know. 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 I've tried to get there, but every day I'm harder, and now it's break my heart, babe. I've tried to get there, and I can send this sorrow. I love you, but you do know. 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 I don't mind being right, even when we got in wrong. I kinda like making it up as we go. And ever since the second grade when you first caught my eye, I knew you were different in all the ways I like. And I won't hide that I'm right, even when we got it wrong. But why you keep playing? We're not the same, man. This other little light, the common ground is shaking in your eye. If you could believe me, let's jump in the deep end. We'll jump in the deep end, yeah. I said, hey, we don't need to leave all of the differences aside. You and I feel right. I said, maybe we don't need to leave all of our differences aside, 'cause that's what makes it right. I'm nothing like you, and you're nothing like me. We don't agree, and that's what makes it right. I'm nothing like you, and you're nothing like me. Our best sides, and that's what makes it right. Or every time that you think it's gone too far, we come a long way, and I know that it's only just begun. 'Cause if you think that loving someone else could ease your mind, let me just remind you, dear, of all the hills we've climbed, and I don't mind being right, even when we get it wrong. No. And I said, hey, we don't need to leave all the differences aside. You and I feel right. I said, maybe we don't need to leave all of our differences aside, 'cause that's what makes it right. I'm nothing like you, nothing like
Oh, I haven't broke it? No, I haven't. All right. Scary stuff for a second, but all is well. Hope you enjoyed those highlights. Didn't have too many of them. Need to be a little bit more diligent with the button, I think, going forward. But, you know, hoping to bring us more of those throughout the season, and especially with the, you know, 1 series a week, maybe 2, as we are going to see a second one this week coming up on Sunday, but more on that later. But with the more reduced schedule, less teams, does allow for a little bit more time for me to try and pull things together. So I say it's going to happen. Who knows what's actually going to happen, what's going to come through, because I had high hopes going into this week, got real busy. What can you do? Instead, we're going to bring you some games, some live action, and it's still going to be just as exciting. These teams, Georgia Tech and Seneca, both prepared for this one, just waiting on one more player before we can hop into the game. But something I haven't talked about yet, and something that I'm actually, you know, pretty surprised that wasn't the first thing on my mind, right, is this is going to be the first match that I'm getting to broadcast on a new patch, on 7.37D. And to be honest, to be quite honest, I haven't even had time to dive too deeply into the patch, but I did see a couple of things that I will highlight, and it's definitely going to spill over into the picks and bans that we do see. Notably, Arcane Boots, a little bit more expensive, a little bit worse on the mana front. Is it going to stop carries from buying this Mana Boots item? Probably for the first week or so. Do I think the nerf is, you know, sufficient to stop carries from wanting Mana Boots? Probably not. So I think it is a little bit more of a support tax, right? Supports are going to be looking maybe more towards the Boots of Bearing. We could see a lot more drums build up. It'll be interesting to see if that's how supports do go, especially with, you know, the Bracer, Wraithband, Null Tally not getting their stat bonuses doubled. So support's going to be looking to fill that void of, you know, maybe about 1,000 gold. So it could be interesting if we see a lot more drums, a lot more heroes become mana dependent, not having supports get Arcane Boots. I mean, that could be a big deal. Another big highlight in this patch is the Gleipnir double nerf. It got both its damage nerfed, and its stats nerfed, I should say, and its cost increased, and that's going to be very significant. So many of the carries this patch have been ranged carries, meta because they are this Gleipnir building hero, because they're very powerful in hitting this mid-game timing where you're able to join fights early and just take advantage of the fact that you have this powerful item that's the AoE root. It's catching invis heroes, doing all the damage, all the while being a farming item that you're happy to get, you know, for first or second. So almost all of the hero nerfs really pale in comparison to me to those 3 big changes, right? Arcane Boots change, right? You have the Gleipnir change, and you have the Bracer, Wraithband, Null Tally not getting double stats. So we're going to see weaker supports in this 25-30 minute timing. We're going to see supports maybe not driven towards this Arcane Boots item, so maybe a little bit more early game kind of focus replacement on that in the drums, but we'll have to see. I mean, that might not be the way that people go. And then also we have Gleipnir really not feeling the same, and double nerf always is just so hard. So even though the stats aren't nerfed so bad, right, the cost isn't nerfed so bad, it's I think 300 gold and like 5 damage, 5 attack speed, something like that, and some of the health. But the fact that you're nerfing both the cost and the effect has just historically been horrific for these items, and building them just feels so much worse. In terms of heroes, nothing really jumped off the page at me, except for the fact that Wind Ranger in particular got hammered into the ground. I think this hero is just not good anymore. It's so much harder to use the ultimate for farming. They've increased the cooldown by 20 seconds on the Whirlwind. More damage reduction, less duration, you lose some of the buff. The Ags got nerfed. I mean, this hero just got hammered into the ground. Meanwhile, a lot of the other meta carries did not get hammered into the ground. And Wind especially was like the main Gleipnir carry. I don't think you can find a hero that was more of a Gleipnir carry. Relative, I mean, Lina like didn't get touched, but Gleipnir got hammered pretty bad, so Lina's not going to see the most amount of play. You still have heroes like the Luna. The Luna did get nerfed, but not by very much. Lost a couple of points of damage on the beam, and I think that might have been it. Oh, you get less damage from or you don't get damage when beaming illusions with that Moonstorm facet. So, I mean, that Luna still feels very good to me. It's one of the carries that was not buying Gleipnir and was still meta in spite of it. I think almost all of the other ones, Medusa as well, feels pretty untouched, aside from the fact that you can't get blinks if you have the safety bubble neutral item, which really should have been fixed a long time ago. That was pretty busted. But so Medusa, Luna, a couple of these carries that feel like they haven't been changed, but a lot of the other ones got nerfed and got the Gleipnir nerf, which kind of opens the door for, are you willing to pick a melee carry now? Is melee carry going to be better? I think the auras got nerfed slightly as well, but nothing too incredibly bad. So maybe it's going to be, you know, bringing back some of these tanky heroes, bringing back some of these melee cores again. I know Dragon Knight actually very much surprised me that it didn't get nerfed, because DK just feels so strong. And they nerfed like the AoE on the cleave by a couple points, and that's it. DK probably one of the biggest power farmers in the game right now. Another hero that wasn't building this Gleipnir, so wasn't nerfed outside of the hero matchup. You know, also very strong. So all that to be said, listen to me rant about the new patch while we wait for the lobby to get set up, as we are just about geared up to get underway. But a lot of attention, I think, is going to be placed on this first draft, seeing how these teams, excuse me, have responded to, you know, the new patch. And it might well be their first real match on the patch. I mean, obviously these players are going to have been pubbing in the meantime, but first time getting a coordinated, you know, captain's draft through. And it's going to be one of the things... Oh, I'm breaking everything again. There we go. But it's going to be one of the things to watch out for, because teams always adjust and teams always get used to the patch at different rates, right? And,
10 seconds
you know,
remaining.
typically, historically, I would have leaned on Georgia Tech to be one of the
5
teams that
seconds
adapts very
remaining.
quickly. But seeing how they got off to a pretty slow start week number 1, I'm interested to see if my assumption is going to be correct there, or if they're going to just, you know, do the thing that a lot of teams end up doing. You lean on the
10
old meta and
seconds
you kind of
remaining.
slowly build your way into the new as you gain experience on the
5
patch.
seconds remaining.
This series, I'm really looking for Seneca to just roll through and really take charge on the momentum. I think that, let's see, I mean, in terms of for the whole series, it's kind of an interesting question for me. I have been awful at trying to predict how these series go early on. I mean, you can't pick against Georgia Tech, right? I think they're going to be back with a vengeance. Feel bad about the week 1 loss, especially, and
5 seconds remaining.
they got 2-0'd pretty bad, though. No, they have to be. I think maybe Georgia Tech take it, what, 2-1? Seneca takes a game. Georgia Tech's able to close it out.
Dire team ban.
Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna log it in. I'm gonna ship it. Georgia Tech 2-1, right? They're gonna lose game 1. They're gonna come back and win games 2 and 3, and
5 seconds remaining.
build back into their series that way. Clip it and ship
Dire
it, you know?
team ban.
I can't pick against Georgia Tech. When they're on, Georgia Tech have
10
always looked
seconds
on,
remaining.
right? Meanwhile, I didn't get to watch the Seneca game,
5
so
seconds
maybe
remaining.
the Seneca game, having watched it, would have given me a different opinion. But just from seeing them last season, I think they can bring a lot to the table. But at the end of the day, they do lack this, you know, full game execution, where mistakes do just creep into Seneca's game. And GT have been a team that are able to punish mistakes in the past. We haven't seen it yet this season, but it's one of the things that I do look to this team to be able to do.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
By the way, love the bans coming through from Seneca. I think each of these heroes is in its own right a value hero. Naga Siren, I haven't seen any of recently, and even when you go back and look at TI, we didn't get to see a lot of Naga Siren because teams respected it so much that it did just kind of get perpetually banned. That being said, I do think the Naga is significantly better as you get higher and higher and higher in skill level at the game, to the point where you can use, you know, all 4 illusions as the support Naga to like block camps and just generally speaking be annoying. And it's one of the things that at this level I don't think you're fully maximizing what the Naga can do, so might be more allowable to just let it through
10 seconds remaining.
in these games. But otherwise, Seneca banning out the Dragonite, which I talked about, you know, in the pregame. Also the Omni-Knight, the Tinker, these save supports, these healing supports can be just incredibly valuable if you're thinking that the patch is going to be, you know, a little bit more beefy, a little bit more slow developing in the fights, and we're used to team fights being very long now. The burst potential is just not really been there. You're not just 100 to 0ing one hero at the start of a fight. Georgia Tech were able to get the Shadow Demon, and I do know that Shadow Demon has been a hot button hero and will continue to be a hot button hero for a long time. Shadow Demon's such a funny hero to me because sometimes it does just get undervalued and underutilized. But the fact that you get Demonic Cleanse built into your kit now, you get Demonic Purge, right? The ultimate, which is incredibly annoying. It lasts for so long. It just, like, you press it on the enemy carry, they can't get the buffs, they're just locked in place, you can kite the fight away from them, right? Whatever. Demonic Cleanse just being, like, built into the kit. So strong. You get multiple charges nowadays, too. Like, I don't know. Who thought about this skill? Who thought about balancing this? Like, you get the Aghanims, and you have, what is it, 3 charges on Clan? Or two charges on each? Shows what I know. I'm not a support player, but either way, I fear this hero. Plus the innate that Shadow Demon got. People sleep on the innate. The stacking damage, right, over time? I think it's the stacking damage the more you hit them on Shadow Demon.
Dire team pick.
I'm gonna, you know, fact check myself before I spread a ton of misinformation because I'm quickly getting in the weeds on this hero that I love seeing picked up. I hate when it's played against me, by the way. But,
10 seconds
yeah, that's when I, you know, immediately get it wrong, what its innate is.
5 seconds remaining.
Wow, does the... Huh. Thought I could find the innates here. Yeah, okay. The stacking debuff that amplifies damage by 2% per stack. There you go. Insane. I think people just forget that that exists, right? And the numbers are not just like, oh, it sounds high, but in the lane it doesn't do that much. It is way too much damage. Seneca comeback. Phoenix Pudge, by the way. Pudge is so interesting. I don't think they did this week 1.
10 seconds remaining.
I'm gonna immediately pull up their match.
5 seconds remaining.
But I don't think they did this week 1. It got picked against them week 1, and they absolutely obliterated it in 20 minutes. Wow, Seneca won there. Okay, I might have to walk back my my prediction, by the way. Pulling up the last week's matches, Seneca won week 1 against RIT Orange in 22 minutes and 3 seconds.
Radiant
They won game 2 in 21 minutes and 15 seconds. So I said 2-1 Georgia Tech. It's making me question it. It's making me think. Wow, and all of a sudden the draft just progressing at lightning speed. We took a long time through the first phase, through the bounds, but Grimstroke Primal Beast immediately answered with Tusk Nightstalker. Seneca surprising me with their draft order, by the way, here. The Tusk has been a valuable hero to pick up for sure. Definitely did get nerfed here with the drinking buddies. I was gonna say drunk team. The drinking buddies. You get a little bit less distance on the pull now, and I believe the attack speed got nerfed as well. But letting it through this late into the phase, and then they go with Nightstalker Tusk. A little bit of anti-synergy built into the Seneca team with the Nightstalker Phoenix. So Supernova is going to be a little bit awkward in the team fight, and you know, they actually don't have the most damage on Seneca. It's starting to make me question, how do you get through a Primal? How do you get through a Luna? I mean, Core Phoenix can do long duration magic damage, like over time, but then you're running a Core Phoenix. See how they decide to shuffle up these lanes. I mean, I'm assuming it has to be a Core Pudge.
Dire team ban.
But I think that assumption's gonna come and, you know, bite me in the butt. I don't think that it's... I think the Seneca team, I said they like to play off-meta heroes. They like to do whatever. We might be seeing it here in Game 1. The tech draft, by the way, very, very strong. This draft fits together. We're going to see the Primal Beast, which we haven't seen the most of recently, but definitely does just make some sense. Where you're going to be big, you're going to be in front, you've got the Shadow Demon behind for some amount of save, and, you know, you're going to just roll through heroes, and you're not going to worry too much about enemy heroes taking you down. And then with supports not being able to buy Bracer, the Primal Beast damage, or not that they can't buy Bracer, right? But the fact that supports won't be like 3000 HP at 25 minutes does mean the Primal damage is nothing to sneeze at again.
Radiant team pick.
And then you have Grimstroke Luna, Grimstroke Shadow Demon Luna. These two supports pair incredibly well with the Luna. You can think about the level 20 timing on the Luna, the Soulbind into multiple Lucent Beams, throwing tons of glaives around. Luna's just going to have so much damage in this one. It's pretty hard to lock her down as well. One thing Georgia Tech are missing here is an egg hitter. Whether they're going to pick up a mid laner or an off lane. I'd imagine that they're going to be taking their mid and sending Primal to the off lane. But maybe taking some amount of flex here. We will see. Could see a hero. I was going to say like one of the spirits, but into the Night Stalker Silence maybe you don't really want to. They'll go for the Necrophos. So Georgia Tech, seeing what I do, seeing that Seneca might just struggle in the damage output, and you're going to have two pretty tanky cores and a Luna. Luna notably not always the most tanky, but as the game does go late, Luna's a pretty hefty force to be reckoned with. Really liking this Georgia Tech draft here. And Seneca, they need to find a way to tie it together. Gonna be with some kind of ranged hero here. And something that can lane into the Necro mid, because right now, unless you plan on putting the Phoenix mid against it, I don't think you have the best time. Now, they could go for a Spirit hero of their own, something to team up with the Night Stalker as well. You know, maybe position one Pudge, and then something like the Storm or the Void Spirit. I might really like a Void Spirit. I think it suffers a little bit in lane against the Necro, but against Shadow Demon Grimstroke, you find one Aghanim Scepter, and you might just find the entire backlines all for yourself, so there's an idea there. But even then, I'm not the most sold, because you might just suffer a little bit too much against these frontline cores, and as the mid, you're in the awkward position here of needing to pump out a lot of the damage for the team. It's going to be the Lina, and it looks like it's going to be the Lina in the mid lane, right? I think there's no... Oh, Captain Tusk. Captain mid player, Captain Tusk. It's got tag team on the Tusk as well. Georgia Tech draft is what we expected. Luna 1, Necro 2, Primal 3. The Seneca lineup, not the same roster we did see last season. But now I'm expecting Tusk 2, Night Stalker 3, Lina 1. With Pudge Phoenix kickers. I'm really not the biggest fan of Pudge Phoenix support duo, by the way. I think this is relatively awkward. It's quite greedy. Very reliant on just hitting hooks. But we'll see if they're able to, you know, take advantage, Seneca. Like I said, won game 1 in 22 minutes last week and game 2 in 21 minutes. But GT, if they're going to come back from their, you know, pretty devastating week 1, It's gonna be with a draft just like this. I mean, I give them significant draft advantage coming out of this one. One thing that is worth noting is Primal against the Lina, just in the laning matchup, be very favorable for Lina. She'll be, you know, able to get as much farm as she really wants to get. Yep.
Prepare for battle.
I feel like every game my camera breaks. Like every single game, for some reason, the first 5 seconds of the game doesn't let me just control the camera properly. But all is well. Taking a peek as Seneca are coming straight up the hill. Smoke not quite gonna break, but Night Stalker dancing around will now break on JV. Both teams gonna back their way off. Georgia Tech planting the ward immediately. They see onto Night Stalker. The rest of the team Smoke is gonna break on Seneca. So full knowledge of what's going on here for Georgia Tech. Don't want to overcommit themselves. Cephos is gonna go in first. Hook gonna be off the mark. But it looks like after a little bit of trading of the paint, no one gonna connect on any stuns, so Seneca will be free to just walk it away.
Just what I needed.
They're still hanging around here. They'll have another round of Hook and maybe gonna try and make something happen as we see. Fudge is set up to try and just hook the bounty room. It's Kurt. Not gonna be hooked by that one. Very awkward start. Very weird and awkward start to this one as a little 2v2 skirmish down on the bot half. It's gonna end up being 3 runes for 1 in terms of Georgia Tech as well, for the side of Georgia Tech as well. The second beam comes through and some nice harass for this GT safe lane before the creeps do meet in the middle, but horn will sound, game will start, and we'll get things underway in this series. Best of 3 coming in, as they all are here in this Playfly season. They do end up running the Lina mid against the Necrophos. Captain on the Tusk playing the position 4, so not what we're used to seeing. Didn't check the week number 1 matches. Luna going toe-to-toe in the Thunderdome. Ice Shards laid down, but PMA gonna be okay. Make my mind do a little spin, not seeing Captain on the core role as we've become accustomed to seeing him. Instead, it's Baracho on the mid lane. This is more what I was expecting in the draft to see. I was surprised by who picked what. But it ends up that the roles are pretty much as we expected from the beginning of it all. Down bottom, disruption. Not going to be a big deal, and up top, Faye on the position 1 Pudge.
Is that your best?
Getting off to a decent start, 5 for 1 against Cephos' 3, and 3's nice actually for this Primal Beast. Just level 1, but very much holding his own in the lane. Faye supplementing his CS nicely. Hook the big creep. I love the fact that you can do this on Pudge, and I'm actually not convinced that it's, generally speaking, good to do. I think actually a lot of the times you use so much mana, 110, where you're always happy to trade 110 mana for a CS, right? Except for the fact that Pudge gets 2 hooks, maybe 3, and then you have no mana regen on this hero, I think. So it just kind of takes all of the aggressive potential away from your lane. You just have to be content to AFK farm against the enemy hero, and kind of antithetical to what Pudge wants to do, generally. But with the Phoenix support, I mean, it's not like you're getting kills, especially against the Primal, so you can understand exactly what he's thinking.
Radiant's courier has been killed.
Captain, a nice job courier hunting with those ice shards. Did end up taking the drinking buddies. Oh, and in the mid lane. Saw it just in the nick of time to see it coming, but not in time to get up there.
Radiant's middle tower
Top,
is
there will
under
be a
attack.
pair of kills as well, but it's the Lina grabbing the first kill, the first blood in the mid lane. Bottle delivered, back up to full. Pretty abusive start against Kerr. He canceled the TP. Oh no, immediately buys the smoke and gonna be walking his slow behind back to lane.
Radiant structures
This is a
are
Necrophos with
fortified.
a smoked movement speed, still just 322. You can call it a 3-2-2 play as Baracho, level 5, able to hit into the tower. Extra wave of CS for him for free. Just now getting back to lane. Another kill
Has been killed.
going Seneca's way. Up in the top lane. Captain coming towards the mid lane, just able to secure a water rune, and he'll make his way back down bottom. Or will he? Thinking about sticking around. He's just level 2, so no point in the snowball yet, but has the drinking buddies, ice shards as well, and it's a pretty low mobility hero in the Necro. So Kurt needs to be careful or he's going to get blocked in by the ice shards. LSA going to connect, and Kurt's starting to fall low. The shards going to grab him, but not really hold him in. Drinking buddies trying to pull Lina closer, but Kurt not going to be taken down this time. And in the meantime, it's another kill for Pudge up top. I said he might not be able to get too many kills with the Phoenix duo, but this is a 3-0-0 Pudge.
Attack.
As it happened again in mid. This is pre-level 6. Kurt just getting abused in this top lane, or in this mid lane, excuse me. So used to seeing Kurt play support. I mean, it's one of those things where you get to a new season, players are playing different roles than we're used to. And it's actually one of the things that I love about being able to cast the collegiate scene, right? And instead of being a normal pro team where you have players changing teams but going to the same role, because you're constrained by the fact that you're on the same university. Let's hold that thought. Up in the top, Mole trying to take down one at least before he goes down, but the hook awkwardly off the mark. Gonna drag Phoenix away. Still Faye. Not quite more movement speed, actually. Looked like he was catching up with the phase boots. They'll come back off cooldown. He'll take him down. But just back to the point, the collegiate scene, you see people graduate, right? You see people no longer on the university team because they're no longer with the school. And you end up with your top 5 players, your top whatever players, in a not mature program where, you know, these schools are not actively recruiting players to be on their university team. Might just happen again. Baracho looking for the Laguna Blade setup. Counting the damage, not quite going to be enough. But you see university players who, you know, maybe a freshman comes in, maybe an upperclassman graduates who's just better at your role, but you're still better than the next man up in another role. And because it's not a mature program, it's not like, oh, we got a better 5, we're going to just kick you from our team. It's, oh, we got a better 5, now you need to play some other role that you're less comfortable on. And it's both a blessing and a curse, right? Because for the first couple weeks of the season, I don't know what the hell is going on all the time. Oh, hook off the mark. Faye could be in some trouble here. Cute try from Mole there with the ink swell. Tried to put it onto a creep, stun up the Pudge. Creep died. What can you do? 7-minute wisdom rune's gonna spawn, and Captain's ready for it, but it's yet another kill for the Lina in the mid. 3-0-0 for Lina as well.
Tower is under attack.
Seneca off to about as good a start as you can ask for in this game. Trying to exercise some of the demons that come with facing up against Georgia Tech as well, because last season, as a power club, Georgia Tech kind of just had their way with Seneca, if I remember correctly. Don't have that match pulled up in front of me, but
Burn your fingers.
we'll have to check it out later. Faye, position 1 Pudge making his way to the mid lane, looking for the hook. He's gonna find it onto Kurt as well. No mana for the dismember, but Baracho's got plenty of damage, or does he? Hang on a second. Kurt will fall. There's kills elsewhere on the map. It's a double kill for the Night Stalker, able to run down Luna first while we were watching the Pudge rotate to the mid lane. Found the second cleanup on the support as well. Pudge in some trouble. Running his way back to the lane, Faye. Needs a couple more points of mana for the Dismember. Instead, he's going to be out, and Cephos making a very awkward rotation, trying to get him. He'll at least trade his life out as Baracho is in with the Laguna to take down another. This is a very weird situation up in the top. Kind of just fighting like mid-river. It all started off with a position 1 Pudge rotation, just walking through the river to the mid lane. Hits the hook on the Necrophos. Kick off a minute-long fight just in the mid-river. We pulled 5 heroes into it. Ends up going all Seneca's way. So coming up on 9 minutes into the game, it is 11-2 Seneca's way. It is a 4,000 gold lead for Seneca. Now, Luna is at the top of the CS board, but you can see in terms of net worth, look at Lena. Oh my goodness. It's actually crazy how much net worth Lena's managed to carve away for herself. It's JV, gonna be in some trouble here. The TP coming in from Grimstroke, but not gonna be nearly in time, or is it the Eclipse turnaround? PMA trying to do what damage he can, but Luna not able to put out enough. Just level 1 in that Eclipse, of course. Level 6 had just come through, so you only get a couple of beams, and it's just level 2 beam to work with as well. Faye working his way down onto Cephos. Cephos doesn't have the charge. The snowball across. Doza gonna join in through the Twin Gate. Find themselves another. This one going into the Night Stalker's back pocket. The early Veil already in hand for Faye. They're gonna smoke underneath an Observer Ward. So Captain, his rotation gonna be spotted out. Kirk gonna have to be careful. Necro just level 6, going towards the Arcane Rune. Gonna just be forced to deny it and try and back his way up. Still Baracho. He wants in. LSA gonna hit the hook as well. Gonna drag him across the way. Captain able to use the snowball to connect forward. Kurt will fall yet again. It's 4 heroes in the mid lane, including your position 1 Pudge for the second time this game. And it's worked very well to his benefit. 5,200 net worth. Compare that to the Luna, who has been farming pretty well. Still just 4,300, which, to be honest, you know, nothing to sneeze at. 43, 4,400 here, 10.5 minutes into the game. Can't really complain if you're playing Luna. It's just that the other team absolutely having their way with you as Seneca look to continue rolling it down. Captain very deep in the egg, gonna get off with Cephos. Unable to take down Phoenix off to the side. DCM jumps himself away, so at the end of it all, Georgia Tech do pick up an extra kill of Captain just being a bit too aggressive, maybe a bit over-ambitious. Trying to reset their record for fastest game this season, sub 20 minutes. But they're going to realize that they can calm things down a bit, perhaps. 14-3 as we see the pause come through. But it is 4-0-2 on Lena. Maelstrom in hand, Arcane Boots in hand. This is, I think I was talking about this pregame, where this is the, you know, go the old meta. Now, Lena was not put in the mid in the old meta, but into the Necrophos matchup, very understandably so, right? But this is Arcane Boots, Maelstrom into Gleipnir Lena. All of the items in his inventory right now, aside from, like, the magic wand, have been nerfed in recent days. But he is still top of the net worth, outskilling his opponents, 4-0-2. And he's at this timing where, I mean, honestly, Lena's not going to go anything different, right? I don't think that the bracer changes are sufficient to make the magic mid Lena viable again. You're not going to go this Aghanim Scepter with the Shard, with the Ethereal Blade, with the, you know, Kaya pieces. Like, none of this. But you are playing kind of a hamstrung hero at the end of the day, where, you know, you look across the river, and I think Georgia Tech have heroes that are slightly more favorable in the current state of the game. Now, this could all be proven wrong. I mean, I'm opining about a patch that has been out for 2 days? 3 days? When did it come out? that I haven't really played on, that I haven't really gotten to cast on. So just my, first impression. And, I talked about Georgia Tech seemingly having a bit of a draft advantage, but that was very reliant on dodging this Necro versus Lina matchup. I mean, I'm just envisioning a world where you get Lina against anyone else, even the Prime, and you're just significantly happier. Instead, Necro has no game, and I don't know if Necro can really recover. 1 in 5 on Kurt. Playing a role that, we're not accustomed to seeing him play in these Playfly matchups. And you see what he's got queued up. He's got a cloak, right? He's got a brown boots. And he's gone for the bracer. He's going back for an Eternal Shroud. Which feels very sad to have to get. I mean, the Eternal Shroud, sure, it amps up your own hero, but it doesn't really enable your team to play around you. It's not an aura item that's gonna, cause the team to want to play with you. It's not going to help beef up anybody else, and may or may not even, stop attempts on Kurt's life. So I just foresee this Necrophos struggling throughout the game, and I don't really know how you have impact on this hero. It's one of the... Necro's one of the heroes that we're used to seeing, popular when it's impossible to kill him. He can go whatever item build he wants, right? Usually it's one item and then either something like a Radiance or very early into the Shivas. But definitely not able to go for that style of build this game. And because of that, he's going to feel squishy and killable for the entire duration. I don't think there's any point in this game where you're going to look at the Necro and say, we can't go on this guy because he's going to survive. So now Georgia Tech are going to have to come up with alternative ways to, play this game. We see right now, they feel very compressed into their own half of the map. Outer towers in the mid and the bot have been knocked down. And it's Luna playing up top by herself, which, as she should be. But the rest of the team is compressed into about 6 neutral camps on the bot half of the map. And it's so early to be saying that. I mean, Seneca feels like they have 65% of the map right now. And we're 13 minutes into the game. This is phylactery on your Night Stalker. And he's the poorest core on his team. By far. By 1,500. 6,000 gold lead here for Seneca. And you know what else I love, right? They had this pause. Night Stalker had to restart, But Seneca hit their item timing, right? They get Pudge involved early when he gets this veil. And then they've fallen back on this advanced map state that they have, where they just have so much more efficiency. They've continued to grow the net worth lead with the Maelstrom up on Lina. And they didn't feel like they had to force the issue by running down a lane as 5, like the aggressive team they want to be. Now, they're going to smoke behind now as Lina not quite on the Gleipnir yet. They're going to run straight headlong into Luna, trying to get the Eclipse off, and it will come through. But not going to be nearly enough as the TP's... Some finished, some canceled behind. Shadow Demon Disruption not going to save him for too long as Cephos at least able to get himself over the cliff, but still looks to be in some trouble. LSA going to land. Baracho able to pump in the right clicks, and Cephos not able to stand up to the whole team. Very easy 3 kills, and smoke rotation works wonders for the Seneca College side. I mean, 4,500 damage coming through. 1,700 on lead. These numbers are no joke. It's 14.5 minutes into the game as another hook gonna land, this time onto Mole. He's gonna be taken down. Trying to contest their stacks as Kurt wants to make sure they don't lose them all, but instead he's gonna be caught by the snowball. Now forward on Faye. Faye with the Dismember. Gonna be able to hold Necro in place, and Kurt gonna be joining his buddies in the grave. Seneca this time a little bit less comfortable, a little bit closer. But they're still able to snatch the stacks away. They're still able to come away with a pair of kills. They're just continuing to edge this game further into their control. This PMA just has to run away all the way back to the base. 10,000 net worth lead here for Seneca College. This just feels like abuse. I mean, There's no other way I could really describe it. Lina, Gleipnir in hand. Pudge has the Shivas as well. They're going to head straight for the Roche Pit. We'll see how ambitiously they want to play this one. It looks like Georgia Tech not going to have any idea this is going on. It is so early for this to be happening. With the Sunray dropped over the top with the Fire Spirit, it's going to be no problem at all for Seneca to take down this Roshan, claim this first Aegis of the Immortal, and really cement themselves in an extreme lead in this game. Now, I do want to see them take it a little bit slower, with this, even with this first Aegis, right? Usually when you take the first Aegis this early in the game, 16 minutes, what you've done is you've set yourself up to take the second Roche early, and really just press the advantage at that point. It can be, you know, deceiving to have this first Aegis feel really strong, over-push your edge. Now, not to say they can't knock down some of the tier 2 towers and, you know, get good map position, all of these things. Definitely don't want to be just running it up. Smoke from Georgia Tech, trying to get them in, but they found the Pudge, which, this is the Aegis target. The find onto Phoenix is going to be much better. He's going to be pulverized into the ground, held down. Reaper Scythe going to come through. They'll find that kill at least, but Faye, he's not done. He's going to hook Kurt right underneath the tower. Defensive spells getting laid down by Georgia Tech. Not going to be enough to hold their Necro alive. One more shards up. JV stuck in the corner. It'll be brought down. So it ends up being a 2-for-1, and that was the smoke find from Georgia Tech.
Radiant's turret has been killed.
Ended up grabbing the Phoenix before the Supernova could get off. And really just no threat to anyone else. I mean, I guess you can try and find the Lina, right? 1800 HP is a lot, but it's doable. It just feels like at this point there's too many priority targets. There's too many priority kills where you need to kill Phoenix before Supernova. You need to kill Lina so that she can't just be pumping in so much damage. But then you have to contend with Tusk, you know, saving with the snowball. I don't know, you can never really contest the Pudge. I mean, he's got Aegis in hand, 2500 HP. Double Bracer in spite of the fact that this won't be amping him up later on.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Right now, Seneca, they're just ready to roll down these towers. And why not? They got the turret going to work in the back. Sparacho gonna be the one to claim the tower gold for himself.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
And alright, moment of truth time, because Seneca, they just pinged the tier 3. Now,
Radiant's bottom tower.
gonna try and force some heroes to TP back, force the defense. Part of me worries inside that Seneca, they're not backing away here. They might be willing to take this fight.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
We'll really see if Seneca are up to the task here. Just 18 minutes in, 19 minutes. Base starting to fall a little bit low, but now gonna back his way off. Still, they are hanging around. They even plant the sentry ward, so definitely thinking about going back uphill.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
More Georgia Tech heroes are making their way back, but the tier 3 tower has fallen. Now the jump forward from Doja looking for the Shadow Demon. JV in a lot of trouble here, and he will be taken down. The Grimstroke Soulbind does come through, but there's no follow-up, no spells to dump over the top. Sephiroth's going to try with the Pulverize. It's going to be on to Lina. They find the Aegis, but the Supernova dropped over the back, and what more can they do? They take down Lina. Grimstroke going to be hooked back in. It's a 3-for-1. The buyback starting to come. Lina really just messes with my brain sometimes. Casting just getting stuck. Doja was hanging around on the high ground, but not able to find anyone.
Got it.
Still hanging around sees Luna. I said it, and now I'm gonna have the yips. It's gonna get to me. The whole rest of the game, Lina is gonna mess with my brain. What can you do? Spirit Vessel up on TCM. Phoenix, 1850 HP. Just a monster to bring down. I mean, compare that to Necro. Compare that to Kurt. They're nearly the same net worth anyway, but Necro right now, 1700 HP. Has the Eternal Shroud completed, but he still feels so easy to kill. Right now, PMA, the only competitively farmed hero on Georgia Tech is this Luna. Still looking for the BKB, but only about 1,500 gold away. And Luna, I mean, no longer is Luna just this tempo carry that, you know, falls off in the late game. If Georgia Tech are able to drag it late, talked pregame about the Soulbind Lucent Beam. Very potent combo that can come through, and heroes like Phoenix and even to some extent the Tusk really dislike the fact that Luna can put in so much damage from just these poke spells. So it could end up making things a little bit awkward, but we are miles away from that timing. JV needs to be a little bit careful here. He's got the disruption to work with. Make sure he doesn't go down himself. Tormentor will be taken. Mole gets the Aghanim Shard, which very nice one. The strong Dispel on the Inkswell is just such a big deal. It has been for a long time. We don't see too much of this Grimstroke hero nowadays, but I think that's really just because it's hard to play around this the Soulbind as well. There's not the most spells that you think of. Like back in the day, you had your double dooms getting tossed out, and it's a big reason why you might pick up the hero. Who knows? As I say that, it just sounds wrong to me, so could be worth just ignoring everything I say. Who knows? Keeping my eyes peeled on this Lina Baracho Hurricane Pike in hand on top of the Gleipnir. Gonna be rolling down the mid lane. Smoked up as 5, but just kind of headed down the lane. Gonna pike forward on Baracho. Holy, that's bold, and they're gonna be rewarded for it. Cephos gonna be taken down as he was just hanging around in the mid. That has to be the ballsiest play I've ever seen on a Lina. There's absolutely no fear. Like, oh, my smoke broke. I'm going to force staff myself in. And we're going to make shit happen.
Middle tower has fallen.
They'll grab the tier 2 mid for their troubles as well. 12k up right now on Georgia Tech. Roshan going to be spawning, or could be spawning rather, in 30 seconds.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
So Seneca definitely going to be keeping their eyes peeled for that next Roshan as it makes its way to the top lane. In the meantime, PMA doing things right, BKB in hand, keeping the farm alive and up to that second net worth position. Haven't talked too much about the Luna, but 0-2 and 3, and it's been a pretty terrific job from PMA. Gonna smoke up now with that BKB. Did show in the mid lane, so maybe pulling Seneca off the mark, not realizing the smoke is going on, and Cephos not able to find the connection. The Hurricane fight coming in clutch for Baracho. Gonna try and turn things around now with the double damage rune. Cephos gonna be caught. Baracho on the back line, starting to just turn away. Takes down one. Georgia Tech not going to be able to get forward with anything else, and instead it's going to be Doja jumping forward, looking for the connection on the backline supports, and they're just going to be left for dead. It's a 3-man catch from Baracho, and it's going to be the whole team. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Not going to lose one for their troubles. And that's a quick find. I mean, that really just flexes the net worth advantage, right? There's nothing more to it, where they find the one catch off the back of the Georgia Tech smoke. And it just instantly has to be full retreat mode from Georgia Tech, but no mobility items to get in the way. The Gleipnir hits onto 3. And what are you going to do? Way more than enough damage coming from Seneca. Flexing the might of that 13k gold lead. After the fight, brings it up to 19,000 in the pocket. Mid-rack's taken down as well. Surgical from Seneca, able to back it off altogether. Roshan has respawned, available in his pit on the top side. Seneca making their way slowly towards it. Roche might want to think about taking a vacation, getting away from where they know he is, because his days are numbered.
Radiant's top tower
PMA is currently being hunted down bot lane. Doja looking for the jump, blinks up onto the high ground underneath the ward. So PMA, aware of what's going on, still trying to juke and jive his way away, and will manage to do so. However, in the meantime, the last tier 2 for Georgia Tech does go down.
Illusion.
As Seneca are able to split the map, accomplish things on both halves. Now in this top corner, Roshan gonna be the objective as Doja gonna make his way through the gate, connect with the team. Roche didn't think about that vacation in time. Now he's just locked at home. Gonna let out the cry, but it's not gonna be in time for Georgia Tech to get here and contest this one, as you see just how quickly the Roche does go down. This time it's going to be Baracho picking up the Aegis of the Immortal, ready to bash away on the tier 3 tower, tier 4 towers. Whatever you want him to. Daedalus is ready, working towards the BKB, and see if the game lasts long enough for him to get it, because knowing Seneca, they want one thing and one thing only, and that's going to be to run down the closest lane and end the game. 30-5 your score here. Georgia Tech all but shut out here in this game number 1. Still yet to win a game this season, dropping 0-2 in their first week 1 matchup. Baracho gonna start hitting away on the towers, but it's Faye able to find the hook. It's on the Shadow Demon. It's gonna be a very nice find to start things off if they can get it, and they can. PMA in with the Eclipse on the back, but the BKB just gonna be popped so he can run away. Caught in by the shards. Oh, it's so beautiful. The Dismember on the back. Faye's gonna have him for free. The buybacks coming through from Georgia Tech. Not gonna matter at all. Through another 3-man Gleipnir. Gonna hold him in place. JV goes down. They will take the Aegis down on the backside as Kurt was able to hit him with the Reaper's Scythe, but definitely not gonna matter. So at the end of it all, what's that? 8 for 1? Yeah, make it 8? No, 7 for 1. 4 buybacks coming through. Not gonna find Sepho straight away as Doja taking some damage on the Blade Mail from Kurt. Need to be a little bit careful into these multiple Blade Mail hero comps, but regardless, Seneca gonna walk away with an absolutely massive team fight win inside of the Georgia Tech base.
Radiant's bottom barracks are under attack.
As Captain hit the absolute shards of his life. Baracho forced away, and Seneca will retreat to fight another day. 28,000 gold lead in hand. And I don't know where this Seneca team came from, by the way. If you told me that their season was going to start out looking like this, with a pair of 20-minute game wins, and then a 37-6 start against Georgia Tech, game number 1, I'd have thought you were crazy. But Seneca are just looking absolutely clinical. Smoke coming through from Seneca. No Aegis to work with, but you can tell from the way they just want to run it down, they're still very much of the mentality that this game is theirs to win and not even theirs to lose. This game is theirs to win. They're going to flex it. They're going to show it. Georgia Tech going to try and make a high ground stand. Right now, just negotiating the how and when, but the kick back. Captain finds another. The hook going to find Cephos as well. Blade Mail active. He's going to try with the Pulverize as well, but Doja's in on the back line. He's found the value support. It's going to be JV going down. Cephos held outside of his fountain. Luna not going to be able to come and join this fight. 3 heroes dead. Another kick out inside of the fountain for Captain. Blade Mail not going to save him for long. Death Pulse over underneath the tier 4 towers, but he will end up falling as well. That's 4 heroes dead with no buy. The tier 4 is getting bashed upon. This game all but over. PMA trying inside of the enemy base, just see if they might make a mistake, but now going to be forced to TP, lest the game just end. Last stand time, PMA tries with the Eclipse. They're going to look on the Captain. Captain with the Snowball, able to hold himself alive for now. PMA on the front lines with the BKB. Going to try and force his fight into everybody. The Sunray going to be dumped over the top of him. It's going to keep Seneca more than happy. GG going to be called. They lose one, but they clean up the entire Georgia Tech team on the way out. Look at your final stat lines here. 44-7. Going to be the final score as Seneca take game number 1 in style. 32 minutes. That's 10 minutes long. That's 10 minutes longer than their longest game this season, but something in me is convinced they're not going to find fault with that. They're going to be pretty happy about it. Got 2 heroes in both the Pudge and the Night Stalker going deathless in this game. Lena falling just the once after getting 3 solo kills in the mid lane on Kurt. The net worth chart really does say it all. Just from the get-go, Seneca looking clean, calm, cool, and collected. Happy to take that one in. I mean, I said it during the game, but if you told me this is how the season would start for either of these teams, that GT would be down 0-3 on the series in terms of the game score, or, you know, lose their first series 2-0 and fall in the first game to Seneca, I'd have thought you were crazy. If you told me Seneca would be 3-0 game score on the season, also would have thought you were crazy. But that's just the way it goes sometimes, and ultimately, I mean, it comes back to some of what I was saying. We're used to seeing, from the Seneca side, Captain was playing the mid lane. We're used to seeing Kurt playing the support, and I think Georgia Tech, it seems like they've forced their heroes, or their players, excuse me, to play roles that they're less comfortable on. And Seneca have gotten, you know, the power boost. They've gotten heroes, or players onto heroes and roles that they're more comfortable on, and they're just showing that they really are a team with new life breathed into them with the new semester, with the new academic year. They've got a whole new host of talent that they've brought to the table, and it's made the difference for them so far here. Not only in you know, the first week, but just watching that first game, there was no point where Georgia Tech felt like they were the stronger team in that one. It was Seneca from the get-go, and Seneca, you know, as recently as last season, just one of the teams that, you know, their whole MO was that the lanes were going to be hard and that they would try and come back into the game. Georgia Tech being the team that the lanes were going to go well. And sometimes the game might go wrongly around it. And we've seen that completely flipped on its head as we start this season out. Gonna throw it to a quick break before we do get back into game number 2, players gathering in the lobby. So it's gonna be a quick one, but we'll see you back here in just a couple of minutes. Stick around. Coming back to you with game number 2 in this best of 3 week 2 Playfly Esports Dota 2. See you soon.
Whenever you need my love, need my love. Whenever you need my love, need my love. Whenever you need my love, need my love. I'll never let you down. All my life I will be there for you. I'll always be around. When you need someone to carry you, if you're looking for someone to hold, I'll be there to pull you for you. I walk miles to get to you, babe. I don't know why I can't see you there. I've tried to get there, but every day I fall off, and now it's break my heart, babe. I've tried to get there, and I can stand this sorrow. I love you, but you do know. 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 I walk miles to get to you, babe. I don't know why I can't see you there. I've tried to get there, but every day I fall off, and now it's break my heart, babe. I've tried to get there, and I can stand this sorrow. I love you, but you do know. 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 I've tried to get there, but every day I fall off, and now it's break my heart, babe. I've tried to get there, and I can stand this sorrow. I love you, but you do know. 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 I don't mind being right, even when we got it wrong. I kinda like making it up as we go. And ever since the second grade, when you first caught my eye, I knew you were different in all the ways I like. I won't hide that I'm right, even when we got it wrong. But why you keep playing? We're not the same, man. This other little light, the coming ground is shaking in your eye. If you could believe me, let's jump in the deep end. We'll jump in the deep end, yeah. I said, hey, we don't need to leave all of the differences aside. But you and I feel right. I said, maybe we don't need to leave all of the differences aside. 'Cause that's what makes it right. I'm nothing like you, and you're nothing like me. We don't agree, and that's what makes it right. I'm nothing like you, and you're nothing like me. Opposite sides, and that's what makes it right. Oh, every time that you think it's gone too far, we come a long way, and I know that it's only just begun.
And welcome back, everybody. We are moments away from getting into game number 2 here, Georgia Tech versus Seneca College, and it looks like Georgia Tech might be making a little shake-up here in the roster, putting a different mid player, thrusting him into the lineup, ready to play here and take Kurt's spot. And Kurt, I think you can understand why he might be calling for this swap, as he really did get abused in game number 1. But welcome back. Hello. I do apologize for setting up that transition scene or that post game. Didn't realize there was only one replay clip in there. So hope you liked seeing a Tusk snowball right through the mid lane a million times in a row. I talked about how, you know, I need to be better about adding clips to there and whatever. Yeah, it didn't happen. It's never gonna happen. But we are back for game number 2, and you know, I was thinking during the break, right, while I was grabbing my water, I was getting things ready, I was thinking that my original series prediction is still alive. Georgia Tech to take it 2-1 over Seneca. I did say Seneca was going to take the first game. Tech were going to try and rally back and, you know, win the next 2. Definitely looks a lot harder for them than I expected it to, you know, before the series had started, but I was right so far. Seneca riding the momentum of last series. So it looks like trying to get things underway. The lobby's broken. What can you do? But Georgia Tech, it is definitely going to be an uphill battle for them to come back and win this series. Not impossible though. Can definitely make things happen. And it really is up to teams to control their own destiny. I've talked about it a lot in the past. So if you've watched the streams when we were CSL, if you've watched the streams when we were Nace, now if you're watching when it's Playfly, it's going to be the first time I say it for Playfly actually, but these collegiate games, these Playfly games, are about comfort over style. They're about function over form 100% of the time. So a team like Georgia Tech, when you're reeling, when you are struggling in these games, first thing to do is just go back to your roots, you know? Screw what people are picking, screw what's good, what you think, you know, meta heroes need to be, and instead pick 1, 2, 3 heroes that your players just simply excel on. You know, in the past, we've seen, you know, signature heroes like the Axe come through. Cephos plays a very good Axe. Dang. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I was having lobby problems of my own. That's pretty funny. Anyway, Cephos plays a very good Axe. We've seen in the past, you know, support heroes like the Ancient Apparition. I don't think Ancient Apparition has been good in the last 2 years. And yet we've seen a lot of AA come through for Georgia Tech because Jim Abraham, back when he was on the team, just AA specialist. I don't really have more GT heroes that are, you know, in my mind front, but my point stands where you just pick a couple of these heroes that you're super comfortable on, that you feel like you can have good game impact on, and, you know, you work from there. We are continuing to have lobby issues. This is so sad. I actually don't know what's going on with the lobby. Sorry, I there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on right now. What can you actually do? Hopefully, you know, third time's the charm, we get things squared away. Maybe they're announcing Deadlocked right now. Go check out Deadlocked if you haven't already. Fun game. No, take 3. Alright, you know what, actually, while we figure this one out, just because it's taking a little bit more of my attention than I would like it to, and I'm not going to be able to just talk through it because things are moving. I'm going to throw it to one more quick break. I'm not going to show you the same replay again. Don't worry, I've learned my lesson. But we'll see you back in, you know, just a couple of minutes while we get things squared away. See you soon.
This whole world keeps on messing it up. Yeah. I thought that I could do better if I just believed. Yeah. I'm thinking back to when you were in the sweater that you got from me. Oh, now it's so complicated. Why is this suffocating me? I felt elevated when you used to lay with me.
Dire team ban.
All right, there we go. Take 3. Everything's fine. It's all worked out. We stole a server back from Deadlocked. It's okay.
Dire team ban. Dire team ban.
I feel like, you know, Seneca might have been listening in. They heard the AA pick.
10 seconds.
Don't worry, we are delayed on the stream for this very reason.
5 seconds remaining.
But Seneca coming in with the support bans.
Radiant
They
team
did game
ban.
number 1. Naga as well taken out for the second time. When they didn't first ban it, I thought they might just be letting it through. But
10
with the second pick,
seconds remaining.
Seneca not willing to let Naga into the pool. They don't want to see Georgia Tech pick
5
that hero up.
seconds remaining.
GT banning out the Lina. They don't want to see that one from game number 1, which actually is a little bit surprising to me. I think the Lina did a ton, and in mid, it just felt very, very strong.
Radiant
But at the
team
same time, I don't think the hero is the problem. You know, it's just ends up being the matchup that is hard.
Ten seconds remaining.
Now, am I insane, or is this the same the same
5
5
seconds
players that GT had game 1? They put the message that they were getting their original mid back, but Kurt was their original mid, and he was already in the lineup. I'm so confused with what's happening. I'm not gonna read too much into it. I mean, I think it's been a staple of mine, just for the last 3 years doing these casts, that I never know what the hell's going on. I think I've like patented the ability to get 35 minutes into a game 2
10
and not
seconds
realize
remaining.
that it is different players on the same team, because
5
you know,
seconds
if you
remaining.
haven't been around the league, if you don't know,
Radiant team
Playfly
ban.
rosters are up to 10 players and not 5, so you can have a, you know, quote-unquote bench of players on your team. The caveat being they have to be from the same school, obviously, Collegiate Dota. But what that does mean is you're allowed to swap out your roster, even between game 1 and game 2. You can't swap
10
out mid-game,
seconds
but, you
remaining.
know, between game 1 and game 2. Absolutely, I
5
have
seconds remaining.
just not noticed for entire games. Like, oh yeah, that's a different player. And there's reasons behind that more than just me being dumb. Though, I will admit,
Radiant
there's
team
a certain amount of just dumb that it is why. But, you know, between players not really having... between the roster lock not matching up with players' names, and then a lot of players not being used to playing
10 seconds
quote-unquote
remaining.
professional matches, so they have pub names as their name.
5 seconds remaining.
I'll stop with that. I won't get into it. It's not a big deal. You can see, though, I mean, both teams here have properly configured banners, which I very much appreciate. Georgia Tech looking fly with the GT Sports logo, and Seneca as well, actually having their own on a pretty gradient banner. I really like the Seneca banner. These two teams haven't changed theirs in a couple
Dire
of seasons
team
now.
ban.
But I've always liked the Seneca banner. I think it looks pretty nice. But, more importantly for me, and something that I love to see, is they have properly configured this lobby where Seneca does have the game win filled in. Which we never see that in lobbies that are player controlled, which all the Playfly games are player controlled and not admin made. We never see that. It's one of the things just slips by everybody. But you know, it's what fills in the game win at the top of the screen once we are in game as well. You can see who's got a little game mark next to them. I think it just makes such a big difference to, at least like my viewing experience when I tune into a match. I love to just have that info available instead of asking in chat who won game 1, and then 5 seconds later someone else asks who won game 1, and so on and so on. Anyway, into the draft, because we do have a draft going on and we're already a couple of picks in. Georgia Tech went with that first pick, Clockwork, which we'll see what this looks like. I saw this Clockwork patch notes, and it has that the expanded cogs facet doesn't pull heroes to the center. Instead, it puts them as close to a cog as possible without them touching it. Now, what does that mean? I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. It sounds like nonsense to me. I'm not convinced that it's like good, but I don't think it's bad either. Like I don't understand why that change needed to be made. But against it, we're going to see the Seneca Tinker, one of the heroes that they did actually ban out game 1, if I'm not misremembering. One of these healing supports that they placed a lot of value in. This time letting it through and take it for themselves. Goes with the Tree and Protector. So already I can think of the Seneca draft as pretty heavy in the split push. They're going to be able to defend towers, and they kind of have this global heal idea. Between Tinker able to TP in and place the March behind, and the Tree and Protector having living armor, always being a nuisance in the, you know, opposing side lane as well, just pushing that out. Tree and Protector is one of those supports that we really got to see abused at TI, and for good reason. The laning stage is simply too strong with the Leech Seed, you know, planting on the ground. You have so much damage, you're just able to deny off creeps pretty much at will. And you have decent kill threat in the lane as well with the Nature's Grasp, Leech Seed combo. So a lot of value to get, you know, from the tree, and where it used to just kind of be big damage on a stick, you get a couple of denies, and, you know, Leech Seed's kind of awkward, enemy can just away, you don't get the healing. Now it just checks all the boxes, and then in the late game you still have Overgrowth, which is an incredibly valuable ultimate. You can see like 1 Blink Dagger, Tree and Protector. And it just feels like, it feels like you're a Tidehunter of old, you know, 25-30 minutes into the game on Tree, because you basically get to do a Blink Ravage, but on a hero that you're pretty happy to just get a Blink Dagger in the mid game, and that's all you need to contribute to the team. You already have all this global heal potential otherwise. See Seneca go with the Magnus as well. As well as the Puck. Puck's been an excellent mid laner. Puck, I think, is like the strongest late game hero right now. I don't know if you can actually get stronger. The Rapid Fire Dream Coil, which 3 years ago, whenever it was introduced, was absolutely a meme for such a long time, now just does so incredibly much damage. Ooh, look at this. We are going to see a Void Spirit versus Puck mid lane. I love to see these just classic mid matchups. And this is going to make for a much more interesting mid lane, a much more interesting game, in my opinion, than game number 1, where we did just see Seneca run over the mid lane from this Necro versus Lina matchup that, you know, Kurt obviously wasn't comfortable in, and no one should be comfortable in, but Kurt just dying quite a few too many times in the mid and just allowed Seneca to snowball the game. Mid matchup like the Puck versus Void Spirit really just shouldn't, you know, particularly favor one player. No one's going to come away with 3-4 kills out of the mid lane. And so it's all going to come down to how these heroes are able to play around, you know, rune control and make early rotations. Basically just your standard mid things, and it's not going to be a slugfest kill lane in the mid lane. By the way, I totally skipped over the Georgia Tech Kunkka pick. The GT Kunkka is absolutely a return to your roots that I had mentioned pregame for Cephos. Cephos is going to take this hero to the off lane, and he's going to look incredibly comfortable on it. Cephos just seems to be in love with this Kunkka hero. I love watching him play it as well. I mean, it just feels like one of the heroes that he just vibes with out of the offlane role. And, you know, for a long time, Georgia Tech's had this in their pocket as a flex pick between mid and the offlane, just because Cephos is comfortable and is able to play it, so that you're always able to just pull this out of the draft early and, you know, make enemy team question, hey, where is this going to end up going? Because if we throw too many tools against it, we are just going to give it up in the offlane and have some pick that just steamrolls us out of the mid. So I do love to see the fact that they are going back to this Kunkka. They didn't get, and Tusk actually uncontested, by the way. Mr. Mole played the Tusk in week 1, and I remember that he was able to just take over the early game. Unfortunately, Tusk has been nerfed since, so Georgia Tech probably having different thoughts about the hero. And they'll go with the last pick, Morph. I think this is just a pretty solid hero. Need to be a little bit careful about how you play around Puck, but Morph has not had any issues with Puck in recent days. You just need to be wary of potentially getting silenced and make sure that you don't walk around on all agi. Still, expecting PMA to make those mistakes would be giving not nearly enough credit. So it's going to round out the Georgia Tech draft nicely. Not going to be struggling for damage at all, GT. It's going to be Seneca looking for this last pick carry that can deal with these heroes. Saw them actually ban out the Luna themselves. Didn't want to see Georgia Tech take it. But right now, I bet they're wishing that they had that option available to them. Let's see who they go for instead. There's not actually a ton of heroes that spring to mind just because these range carries got nerfed pretty hard. You know, the Mirana got nerfed. We saw the Wind Ranger just get absolutely slammed. So these heroes that are left over just don't feel like it, especially against the Kunkka. Maybe going to turn their attention towards something like a Life Stealer? And that is what they go for. Wow, look at that. One point in the Cool Hands column. It's going to be the only draft pick that I do successfully guess. Probably all season. But add a tally to my column, because I've seen some people picking up this Life Stealer in the early days of the patch. He did get a buff to the Feast. You get a little bit of extra damage and healing coming through. It's like an extra 0.5% or 3/4. It's up to 3% at level 4 of the max health to damage / lifesteal. Up from, it was either 2.25% or 2.5%. Which is not insignificant. But the bigger deal for Lifestealer is the fact that these ranged carries that really just are a nuisance to Lifestealer, because you're not able to man fight them getting a Hurricane Pike, or in the case of like Wind or Mirana, which were very, very popular picks, just always able to jump away from you, run away. These heroes being much less pickable means that Lifestealer has a much better time just finding targets and finding his way home. And against Kunkka, against Void Spirit, it's definitely much more doable. So the Seneca draft coming together very nicely. And you have to remember, they've got the double healing supports in the Tinker, in the Treant Protector. So Georgia Tech, for them to win fights, they're going to have to find successful bursts and not allow these fights to just drag on. Or else the long-term sustain of the Lifestealer coupled with these supports is going to be enough.
Prepare for battle.
So as we get underway with game number 2, take a moment and put your predictions in the chat. I'll see him in 5 minutes. No. I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to say that Georgia Tech are going to come back. They're going to find it in them for this game number 2. Kurt's going to have a comeback performance on the mid lane. He's got a much better matchup than he did in game number 1. So we see the same exact start to the games. Both teams going to run into each other, but this time Kurt could be in a little bit of trouble. He's got the shield popped up for now. They're not going to be able to chase forward for more on Seneca. Both teams just taking a little bit of damage and kind of walking away. Mole wants in with the battery assault, but not that tanky on the clockwork level 1. And now Stephos going to be open wounds up, slowed to a crawl. Kurt with the 5-man resonant pulse. And now it could be Doja in some trouble. Doja doesn't have the skewer available, went for the level 1 shockwave, and he ends up going down. On the backside, Baracho looking for Mole. He'll be given free reign to just chase it down, but it's actually TCM. Gonna be in a little bit of trouble here. The tree trying to juke and jive through the trees that he calls his family, and not gonna work for this one. He'll go down as well. 2 kills Georgia Tech's way, as Mole might just be paying with his life, and indeed he will. But it's the first blood for Georgia Tech, as well as the second kill. Runes have not been picked up just yet. It's going to be 1 denied bounty. And 1 bounty rune Seneca's way. And the other 2 are just going to be existing for a little while. Looks like the second one going to get picked up by Tree and Protector. So a nonsense start to the game. And one that's going to favor Georgia Tech at the end of it all. That was so weird. Seneca just like walked up, realized they didn't have enough damage to get a kill. Didn't get a kill. Georgia Tech walked back in. Seneca walked back in because GT walked back in. It's just like a cat and mouse game where it took 3 re-engagements before either team had enough damage to find it. Anyway, into the actual game. You can already see this mid matchup, level 1, level 2, going much more favorably for Kurt compared to game number 1. Has the even matchup, and he's going to continue to play up to it. Taking a peek over at the side lanes. We saw Doja get taken down for that first blood. He did skill the shockwave level 1, not able to use skewer to get himself away. Still off to a nice start for himself regardless. Top of the CS board. Take a peek at the top lane as well, as I think these lanes should be, you know, all 3 of them relatively stable. Clockwork Kunkka, not going to get much going against the Lifestealer plus Tree and Protector. This is just a very stationary, very stable lane, really. No one should be looking for kills. I say that as Mole. Gonna look towards TCM, and TCM taking some damage, able to get underneath the tower. See just how much the low attack speed of Treant makes it awkward to try and get out of the cogs. But he made it at the end of the day. And something I didn't highlight in the draft, but I was noticing, is he actually took the Primeval Power facet. Like the Primeval Power. I haven't seen this facet in 1 single game. But as you can see, it gives 5 damage per level on Tree. Sitting at 102 base damage. Level 2. But the flip side is he's not able to plant the Leech Seed tree. Means he's not able to just plant that for the extra healing. You're only able to get it onto 1 enemy as well, instead of multiple. And I mean, this is just worse. this facet choice kind of sounds more fun, but it is just worse. Kurt in some trouble here. He's got a couple of bottle charges. Playing with Baracho, and hang on, Baracho falling low. No more burst for Kurt. He's really playing the limits of the hero, but he's got it in the bag. We have faith. Wanted to take a peek over at this bottom lane as well, because We've seen Tinker as both the 4 and the 5 to skewer off the market with the Blood Grenade. JV could still be in trouble? No, he'll be fine. Instead, it's in the top lane where TCM went down. DMA was looking forward, but not able to take down Faye. Faye, he's getting harassed by this dumb neutral creep. Really, really wanted him. He'll be okay. Now to the mid, Mole. Able to snatch a water rune away, so Baracho not going to get a bottle refill, and now going to be stunned up. Jumps underneath the tower, but no mana on this puck. And Treant actually did TP back up top, so not TPing in mid for the bottle refill means Baracho going to be pretty low on the regen for the foreseeable future. So you can see Mole able to snatch the bounty on his way back to top lane as well. Just means one less resource for Puck to play with. Kurt continuing to look for that extra damage.
Small adjustment.
Anyway, back to my original point before I got so rudely interrupted by the game that's ongoing. We've seen this Tinker support be played in the 5, we've seen it played in the 4, and there's some differing opinions about where it's actually best, whether it is the 5 or the 4. I don't know what the actual stats say nowadays. I think I actually prefer it out of the 5, all things considered. Not that you should be putting Treant Protector down in the spot lane, but I think out of the 5 role, it makes a little bit more sense to me, just because Tinker will be able to farm unobtrusively. Where in the 4, you can just have a hero that's willing to take more safer farm. Get online earlier. It's up top, TCM in some trouble. He is going to end up falling as Cephos able to cleave off of the neutral creeps. So 4 for 1 early days for Georgia Tech, and looking night and day compared to game number 1, where felt like the game was already a struggle for them at this point. Kurt, with the regen rune, wanted to get a little bit aggressive in the mid lane. Bottle refill comes through for Baracho. Recognizing he's up against the regen rune, make sure his support is available to get him that bottle refill before heading back up to the top lane. Kurt, though, he wants in. Baracho starting to fall low. It's down bottom. Tinker actually goes down as Mole made the wraparound from the river. That point that I put in my column earlier during the draft, I think you got to take that one away as back to missing kills. That's the standard. Cephos, a little juke in the trees, he will fall. Punishing that clockwork rotation. And in the mid, we're having some 3-lane action as Baracho not able to dodge the damage from that astral step. And it's Kurt this time with the solo kill, 1 versus 1 in the mid. Bay in some trouble now, held up underneath those cogs. The battery assault coming through from Mole, but doesn't have enough damage to take down Faye. Doja, in the meantime, heads back to pick up the Wisdom Rune, the Georgia Tech Wisdom Rune. Gonna be sitting idle for now. Hopefully that one not forgotten for long. See more double bracer builds, by the way. Cephos double bracer on the Kunkka. And I'm interested if this is actually still a viable idea. I'm gonna try with Bo. He's just gonna put it out to make sure he collects the creeps, I suppose. As down bottom, hold that thought. Kurt gonna find the jump, looking for Doja. Got the ice path to chain him in for now, but Kurt doesn't have another astral step available. Means that Doja's gonna get under the tower just fine. Not enough damage to turn for the Tinker either, so Kurt just gonna have to walk his way back to the mid lane. Pretty disappointing first rotation there. Because instead, the invis gonna be used by Baracho. Looks like a little bit of ships passing. No, was spotted out that Baracho was making his way down here, and they should have the read that the invis rune was bottled up as well, so could be a very awkward couple of rotations, both towards the bot lane from these mids. looks like neither of them is going to have much chance of connecting. Even see TCM down here from the gate. They're thinking about diving, thinking about trying for PMA, but it's such a hard kill onto the Morphling. They need to lead with a silence and then able to burst down the Morphling from there. It's going to be so close. The Green Coil comes through, but able to shift still. They've got the nukes. The laser comes through.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Up on the top side, immediately they're going to turn their attention towards this Lifestealer. Still, Cephos just able to grab the Lotus for now. But Blank in some trouble. LS able to just walk it off. They've got Tinker up here as well as TCM. So now going to try and turn their attention towards Mole. Still Cog's TP, and that'll get him home to safety. Very even game compared to game number 1 as we hit the 10-minute mark. About a 1k edge coming through for Georgia Tech, but could be turned on its head in a moment. So we see the shield rune bottled up for Baracho.
Bounty.
1-1-1 on Puck, 3-0-0 on Kurt this time around. I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but I think this is such a big deal to see Kurt just come back from the game 1 where he had no game from minute 0, honestly. And, you know, both mentally be in it, but also, you know, physically, still to count as physically. You know, to be in it, you know, gameplay-wise as well. It just feels like he's having a night and day performance shift. Baracho forced to use the shield rune defensively. Kurt is able to turn it on.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
And also, you can see Void Spirit, level 9, with 1 Bracer and Ograx, he's got 1700 HP. This man is so tanky. Meanwhile, taking a look at Cephos' build, he's headed for an early pipe. Makes a lot of sense against the Tinker, against the Puck. Just enable his team to play around him. Pipe might not be early enough, though, as Baracho making his way up. Instead, going to be spotted out by the Observer Ward, and Mole just going to try and desperately run away. Unfortunately for him, there's a Dream Coil available, so the TP not going to make it home this time.
Dire's middle tower
Dragged a little bit of attention over from the Seneca side, but
structures are fortified.
not going to be enough to get them to mid-tower. The Glyph comes through. Kurt able to jump down. Find himself an Illusion Rune. It looks like JV just going to be able to walk it off as well as Baracho. No Dream Coil available, so no real kill threat here in the mid. Keep things here as tension starting to ratchet up a bit in the mid. Kurt with the Illusion Rune. The supports are hanging around. You want some pressure on this mid tower, but it looks like with Treant Protector in the area as well, it's just simply not going to happen. Up top, it is Lifestealer, top of the net worth board, and been left pretty alone, pretty in the 1v1 against the Kunkka. So while Cephos is managing to carve out a good bit of farm for himself, Blank on the Lifestealer is doing a very good job of just maximizing here in this lane and building towards the Radiance. It's going to be ready soon. It's going to be a 14, you know, maybe 15-minute Radiance. That's just going to be a very nice timing for the Lifestealer as he continues to accelerate. Now, that being said, PMA also very similar position on the Morphling. Vladimir's in hand, and no, it's not 2016. Vlad's on the Morphling is a reasonable build once again. Get some of that bonus damage, and you know, you're not looking at a first item Lincoln's, especially in a game like this, but I think anytime you get a first item Lincoln's nowadays is just recipe for sadness, for despair. But he's going to be working on the Manta style next on PMA as you see him head through the gate. He's in on the gank. Looking for blank here. They've got numbers. Clockwork up as well. Not the easiest kill onto Lifestealer. You see Morph actually head back down bottom. They'll do a little bit more lane shuffling. Blank runs headlong into the secret shop. Radiance acquired. And now going to be the man up against Cephos, up against the Kunkka. At this point, Radiance acquired. I don't think there's any way you're killing off this Lifestealer. He might just find one for his troubles. JV falling low. He will fall. Blank now has Infest still available. Hookshot going to hold him back for now, but Lifestealer jumps into the creep. Now they're going to turn it with the Blink RP. Doja was ready for it into the Overgrowth. And it's going to be 3 kills for Seneca. Cephos, no way to get out of this one. Double kill for the Lifestealer right after he picked up that Radiance. Injects 1,000 more gold into his veins. Top of the net worth board. And deservedly so. Georgia Tech just not at all respecting the Lifestealer Radiance pickup. And that's a very nice timing for him. Definitely going to make things awkward for the Morphling as PMA down bottom. Not able to cancel out the TP from the Tinker. That's always a funny interaction to me. I mean, Morph's been like this for a while now, but I definitely am still not used to the Agi, whatever it's called, not stunning. TCM going to be found in the mid lane. Was thinking there was going to be enough damage. Instead, the Dream Coil comes through and hold that idea is could be in a little bit of trouble on Kurt as well. He's able to get the Dissimilate off, but not able to jump away as he lands right in that Illusory Orb. Baracho now underneath the tower, ready to take down the support. It's going to be 3. PMA made the rotation for this one, but it's into the full 5-man. Now PMA's in a world of trouble. The boat going to be dropped over the top of him, trying to hold him back, trying with the rum, but PMA, he's out of places to run. He's going to be X-marked back. Actually pulled back his own Morphling, Cephos did. PMA still trying to run. No more strength available to morph up into. He does end up going down, and Cephos might just be the last to fall. Blink forward, drag him back. They'll take him down. Seneca. This feels more like the Seneca of old. I mean, maybe the lanes didn't go badly for them, but they just hit this 15-minute timing, and all of a sudden, there is 5. They're in your mid lane. And what looked like it might be a pretty clean pick onto the Treant Protector ends up being a pretty drawn-out fight that Seneca are able to abuse the power of this tree heal, of this Tinker heal, and of this Lifestealer with the Radiance. I mean, it's also 4,200 damage coming through for Puck in one fight at 16 minutes. Ends up about a 4,000 gold swing just off the kills alone. And this game has definitely gotten a lot harder for Georgia Tech in the last couple of minutes. Seneca have blown the doors open. And by the way, Doja was having a pretty quiet early game. Nothing wrong with that. He wasn't getting abused in the bot lane or anything. Just we didn't get to pay too much attention. But he's gotten this Blink Dagger and had a very solid start this game too. Baracho on the DD. Able to dive underneath the tier 2 and find a kill. Now silenced up X-Mark back into the Torrent. One Remnant can be dropped over the top, and Baracho will feed away a 5 streak. Aghanim Scepter timing on Kurt. Able to take down the Puck. It's another case this game, this time Seneca's side, of not respecting a hero's item timing. Fresh Aghanim Scepter picked up immediately has the payoff. Able to take down the Puck, and that's a big streak. I mean, that was, what, 800 gold? And 900 gold, actually. Between Cephos and Kurt, and what that means is the pipe is completed. Cephos building towards the Aghanim Scepter as well.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
And Kurt, while he doesn't get a lot of the gold,
Dire's top tower
does
is
take
under
away that
attack.
streak, gets a hefty bit of experience for himself as well. And since he did already have that Aghanim Scepter completed, it might even be better to give the net worth over to
Radiant's
Sephiroth at this
bottom
point.
tower is under attack.
Georgia Tech, they're going to go for round 2. Smoked up behind in the mid lane. Going to make their way down towards bottom. Looking for Doja. On the Magnus. Not the easiest kill to find, but with the 2 rounds of the silence, they're going to lead it off with the hook shot into the ice path as well. RP's not able to get it off because of that silence. And the drag back onto TCM as well. So a pair of kills, the off lane as well as the position 5. Georgia Tech have definitely stemmed the bleeding with that one. As that is a ton of gold swing, actually. Nearly 2,000 gold swing off of a support kill and a Magnus, who's the lowest net worth core in the game at the moment. And we see this a lot on Magnus, actually, where if you do go for a build like the Blink Dagger, like Doja's gone for, had the immediate impact, you know, dragging heroes back, getting the kills, looks real flashy. You do end up sacrificing a lot of your farm for it because you haven't built up an item that is intended for you to find farm. Instead, you are fully reliant on coordinating with the
Dire's
team to
bottom
find
tower
kills.
is under attack.
All that being said, Seneca definitely not out of it, as we can see Lifestealer Blank ready to charge on forward. Sanj and Yasha after the Radiance. Blank wants into fights now. And he's going to have his way with it. I mean, he's just able to run down underneath towers, find heroes. Nothing they can really do on the Georgia Tech side to slow this down.
Dire's middle tower
As
is under
Kurt,
attack.
isolated from the team, does get taken down in the mid. Meanwhile, Blank takes down the tower. Now going to charge forward, looking for more. Rage to jump through that tidal wave. And JV, not going to be able to do much. The dragon.
Dire's top tower
2 heads sometimes aren't better than 1. Bashed into the ground. Keep coming back, you know, after seeing these kills and seeing all this. Is whoa, hook shot. Gonna try and find Baracho. Stolen silence from PMA is massive. Oh, beautiful play there. He's able to take him down. That's a freebie. When I saw them try and get this kill onto Puck, you know, for the briefest moment, I thought there's absolutely no way that you just hook shot in and kill a Puck, right? Ah, PMA proves me wrong. Picks up this Chrysalis. Right-click damage is there. The silence to stop the jaunt away. Pretty stuff. Holding at a 6k net worth lead for now. Seneca. Oh, a couple of bounty runes for Doja, and that'll push him up over 7k. Doja on his way back for a pipe. He's got the gold for it now. So it will be ready, will be available for the team, and a value pickup against the Void Spirit Kunkka combination. Lots of AoE magic to come through. Still not the easiest for Doja to recover his way back into the game. I mean, he just doesn't hit creeps all that fast. But you can see he's actually nearly recovered up to the same net worth as the Void Spirit, who over the last couple of minutes, you know, got picked off, struggling to find his own farm a little bit. And Georgia Tech, they're going to smoke up and try and correct that. But Doja, I mean, this positioning is just perfect. He's going to get run into in the blink away. Skewer gets himself entirely
Dire's
away,
middle tower is
breaks
under
the smoke,
attack.
while the rest of his team was doing the Tormentor.
Dire's middle tower has
And they're
fallen.
going to immediately smoke up behind off of this Tormentor, connect with the Magnus, and Fest Bomb is ready. They've got the RP to work with as well. Doja looking. They're not going to find the Skewer. Oh, that's very awkward into the wave. Zephos just able to walk all the way back. Baracho in with the jump as well. They will end up finding the Kunkka. The Kiro as well going to be left for dead in the river as JV falls. Mole might just be next. Doja able to use the blink to look for him. He's trying to TP, but no, the Yule Scepter Gonna lift him up in the air, gonna keep him away. So a bit of an awkward initiation, a bit of an awkward jump. But the idea was very solid. Found the connection for the extra smoke. They were able to hold on to the RP through all of that as well. Doja didn't just jump and try the blind RP or try the RP on just the Kunkka. Instead recognized that Seneca were going to be able to take that fight without it.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
And once the initial jump went their way, Seneca, they were no threat for the rest of it all. It's still so hard for Georgia Tech to take down this lifestealer, and really for the bolus of this game, it's going to be hard for Georgia Tech to do anything about LS. Really, it's just Morphling that can try and man-fight him. And even then, you're kind of reliant on stealing the LS and stealing some of the healing that you can get from this open wounds.
Radiant's bottom tower
So there's not much you can do, you know, really at this point, especially because Morphling, I mean, he doesn't want to morph into the lifestealer. Later on in the game, you definitely want to be the lifestealer, but early, you know, the puck is so tempting to take the Illu Orb, take the silence, have that extra wave of control for the puck.
Radiant's top tower is
GT
under
hunting, but not going to find this time. Baracho able to play his way away. We did see this Yule's come into effect in the last fight as well. So Puck, with the extra layer of protection now in that defensive item, it's going to be a lot harder to just pick him off, like Georgia Tech were able to do in their own jungle earlier on.
Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
Seneca, not a very fast Roche that they were taking, but they will be able to get it regardless. GT are going to scout it out with the rocket flare, but it's simply going to be too late for them to be able to contest.
Dire's structures are falling.
Instead, trying to force down the tier 2 tower. They did force a glyph out, but it's going to be all they get. So now with the Aegis already claimed, GT going to back their way out and split back up on the map. Seneca, a little bit of split smoke action. It's really just Baracho hunting. Throws out the orb. Smoke does break, but unable to find the Clockworks. Mole doesn't know how close he came to disaster. Ships passing in the night. Clockwork able to walk himself away. I can't help but think, you know, we've seen a lot of double bracer still in these games. You know, Kunkka's got 2 as well, and other side of the river, there's still a bracer. That should be it, right? Neither of these supports have
Radiant's bottom tower
a double
is
null
under
on the
attack.
Tinker still. I can't help but think, you know, the removal of the doubling stat bonus is so big that I can't imagine getting this is still worthwhile. Doja X marked back, gonna drop the boat on top of him as well as Puck not able to find the kill. He actually jumps forward. Now the hook shot, they're gonna look for him. He just is on the lifestealer, but not gonna be able to connect. Oh, the RP baited, not gonna throw it out, but now Doja brought up underneath the tier 3 tower. Both of the silence is gonna be used from Kurt.
Is under attack.
Cephos not gonna find anything with the pullback either, so in the end, they're going to just find the pick-off onto Clockwork and turn their attention back towards the tier 2 tower. Hang on. Overgrowth going to find onto Kurt. Kurt rooted in place for the time being. They're going to find the RP as well. Make sure that the Void Spirit does go down, and Cephos in a world of trouble as well. He falls. Blank just going toe-to-toe, but PMA has made the TP in, and with that Daedalus completed, he's got plenty of damage just looking for the turn kills. Hasn't found any just yet. Meanwhile, the rest of his team has crumbled behind, and PMA turns into the lifestealer, grabs the raid, looking for the Tinker, but the healing is coming through. The living armor, the March of the Machines. It's enough to hold him in place. PMA now in trouble. He's got the open wounds, but not able to hit as the entire team surrounds him.
Bottom tower is under
3 kills for the lifestealer, 4 kills for the team. And you can see, even with 10,000 damage put forward from Georgia Tech, Most of it on the back of the Morphling, by the way. Seneca are just able to heal through it all. And there is simply no answer for Blank. There's no answer for the Lifestealer. Went for this very early game build.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
With the Diffusal Blade, S and Y now as a basher as well, and headed towards the Aghanim Scepter, which will be so annoying to deal with. Kurt in some trouble. They're going to try to drag back. Kurt able to jump back towards the fountain, but he's going to be held in place for now. Able to jump away. X-Mark purged by a quick infest. Racho going to be caught. Hang on. Ice Path not able to connect in time, and now the Skewer going to drag him back. Find a couple. Kurt just barely able to jump back to the fountain, but Jakiro is welcomed to the well another way. 30 seconds on the deck. It's a scary place to be, by the way, Seneca. Right outside of the Georgia Tech fountain, but all of a sudden, they're up to this 18k lead. They've got Aegis in hand, and there's no way to take down the Lifestealer. Blank just on the front lines. Able to hit. They take down the puck, and PMA doing what he can. There's a lot of damage. Hang on. Blank's starting to fall low. He does have the Aegis to work with as well. Open wounds. Now the RP. Oh, they're going to find him while he's morphing. Not like this. 74 seconds. PMA. Oh, it was a great try, but they ultimately didn't have the damage to take down Lifestealer. Able to just heal through it all. Both carries going toe-to-toe for as long as it takes, but ends up being Blank who's got the upper hand. Buyback comes through from Cephos. They're going to try the drag back with the X-Mark, but Blank has the Rage, able to run himself away. One lane of Rax claimed. Aegis still in hand, but just for about 30 seconds. Not going to be enough time to matter. I love this, though. The fake back coming through. They're just going to turn it around, look for the fish out with Doja. Blank ready to just hit some more. They will find the Skewer back this time onto JV. JV, Invis. We're going to see a very awkwardly timed pause. Not going to save JV's life, though, unfortunately. Little bit of lag. What can you do? I mean, it really is just awkward when you're lagged during a fight, because it's when it becomes apparent. JV dusts it up, throws out the Ice Path, but not going to keep him alive for very long. Mole in trouble as well. Will be going down. Both supports fall. Cephos waited to pause until the end of it, so a little bit of manners there. Seneca averaging 6.5k team MMR, I think. That is definitely an upgrade from last season. Now, unfortunately, I haven't connected with all the teams to see what the MMR situation is looking like. And this season, more than any before, we have way more, you know, Immortal plus players, I'll say. If you look back a year and a half, 2 years ago, it just wasn't the case. We had a couple of teams that were very high-ranked Immortal, and then we had a lot of, middling teams that were Ancient, Divine, plus an Immortal or two. Definitely has gotten turned on its head as time has gone on, and especially this season. If you are new to the Playfly experience, used to be a free league, now is a paid league, though not very expensive. It was, what did it end up being? $10 a player? 20? Something like that. Initially, they set the price very, very high, and then walked it back, and I can't remember exactly what they settled on as a final price point. But one of the things it did do is it did filter out a little bit some of the teams that were a bit less serious about playing. For better or for worse. We cut the teams down about half, which is not, strictly speaking, a good thing. But it has accelerated this, ever-growing MMR that the collegiate scene has had. It's kind of consolidated into, you know, the 8 teams that we do have playing this season.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
I am looking forward to and hoping that more teams, you know, are exposed to this league and can see it going forward. We can, you know, bring this back up to the 16 plus teams. I mean, 16 teams is a great group size, and since we've moved to this group stage format, having 2 groups of 8 and a bigger playoffs is, you know, really my wish list. But I digress. Georgia Tech, 22,000 gold in the hole, down 11 to 28. Still trying to hold on, and, you know, now feeling much more like game number 1, where PMA has managed to stay competitively farmed relative to enemy carries and enemy heroes in general. But the rest of his team has just not found space on the map. They really have been run down. And very quietly, by the way, Tinker is higher net worth than Magnus, higher net worth than 2 out of 3 enemy cores. Holy Log at 4 Staff Greaves. I mean, it's nothing flashy, but just able to find the extra farm on the map as Doja gonna find the RP, BKB as well. Now the Skewer drags him across, still falling low, but not able to get him taken down as PMA jumps in, trying to target down everybody, but really not able to target anybody. PMA just getting kited around. Doja falling low, finally will be taken down by Kirk. PMA ends up with the right click. They're going to try and take down Lifestealer. No Aegis to work with, but Blank able to kite things out. PMA is in on the backside, and again, getting kited. Not able to hit into anybody. Looking for Blank again, round number 2. But able to jump inside of the puck, or the jaunt away, and Baracho delivering his Lifestealer to safety. It's a 2-for-1 trade for Georgia Tech. It's a very nicely done job there, and again, it's all the Morphling damage. Just recognizing that he has to ignore the front lines, looking for the back, and PMA, if he's ever able to sit on heroes, he can dish out an immense amount of damage. This is Butterfly, Satanic, Daedalus, even has the Nemesis Curse, so he's doing the extra % damage. There's one heavy-hitting Morphling, and unfortunately just lacking that little bit of extra control that his team is unable to provide because the net worth is struggling so much. Still, they're going to smoke up. They have that minor win that they had, the fight inside of the base, and now going to look to turn it into more of a major one as they look to get out on the map. Take advantage of the fact that Seneca forced to take their foot off the gas, at least momentarily, while they waited for their heroes to respawn. Headed towards the top side, just going to miss the connection with Magnus. Bird Attack maybe going to lament a bit of a missed opportunity there as they just can't find anything with this smoke. I say that, the Roche actually spawns the perfect time for them. So there you go. This could be the avenue back in. GT might just be able to sneak this Roche away. It just spawned up here. And with PMA in the area, they take this super fast. So Aegis for Morphling and new life for this Georgia Tech team. Still 23k in the hole. Still a racks and a half behind. They are going to find the connection on the Tree Protector who's just hanging around inside of the base. He's able to get deep wards down and just being annoying, but ran himself out of rope. PMA level 23 on the Morphling and actually headed towards a Scotty. He's recognized the Lifestealer healing is just too much for him to deal with. Blank has one of his own for when Morph does steal the open wounds on top of being annoying to the attribute shift, so a value pickup for both of the carries. I actually didn't get to talk about this much, but Blank went for the Diffusal Blade immediately after S&Y. This was the, you know, ultimate try and chase down and lock down onto heroes build. And it really did work in spades for the Seneca team because right when he was able to complete this Diffy Blade was the timing that he really never left the side of his team on blank. So Lifestealer just able to stay coordinated pretty much for the rest of the game, and it's just now that we're seeing him split back up and, you know, farm the rest of the map again. But 14-0-10 on the Seneca carry. Playing a game as close to perfection as possible. As I say that, things might have gotten a little bit awkward. Hopefully connection's alright, as it looks like it is. Just making sure we're not going to have another extended pause. PMA showing off that he's able to solo the Tormentor. Aghanim Shard for Mole. The Clockwork going to be flying around with that jetpack. Cephos, by the way, we haven't checked in on him for a while. The Ag Shard, Aghanim Scepter, top of the pipe that he picked up first, and looking towards the BKB, eyeing it for now, but holding on to that ever-important buyback. PMA, 2 minutes left on the Aegis, thinking about hitting into this tier 2 tower. For now, not much contest coming from the Seneca side. Just going to allow PMA to hit into it. They are going to glyph. It will reset after taking the tier 2 tower as well. Still pretty non-committal. They don't want to fight into the Aegis, and for better or worse, it looks like they're just going to let this tier 2 tower fall.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
Instead, making a little wrap play of their own. Not sure if they really want to find a fight here, or if they're just looking to find another avenue to farm, but either way, Doja is going to find Mole, or maybe Mole's going to find Doja. Both teams see each other and immediately just back off. I feel like we haven't checked in on Puck in a while too, and this is going to be a scary hero as well as the game does continue. The Aghanim Scepter on top of the Charisma means that Puck is going to be doing about 1 million damage in any fight that he's able to get a Dream Coil off. Be watching for the level 25 on Puck as well, because it's going to come up sooner than later. And having the Dream Coil pierce the immunity, once you have the Aghanims, once you have the attack speed coming in from the Charisma, just so much damage. PMA gonna try and give the late game Puck a run for his money, though. If anyone can do it, it is the Morphling. You can see right now hitting for 450 damage a hit, about 1,000 on a crit. And with 20 seconds left on the Aegis, PMA is going to use the opportunity to walk up the high ground, see if he can knock down a tier 3 tower. He's actually going to jump forward, looking for the supports, but Hexed Up Tinker picked that one up and maybe caught PMA a bit off guard. Need to be careful. 10 seconds on Aegis. Don't want this to burn without you being alive. He's going to rage and try and run away, PMA. Going to be forced away. The RP on the backside going to be just on the Kurt, but they will take down the one. Aegis gets reclaimed on the backside. PMA full mode retreat. As the Georgia Tech supports not going to be so lucky. They're going to be cleaned up. It's just Cephos as well as PMA able to escape with their lives off of the Seneca College high ground. Tier 3 tower only taken down about halfway, and Treant Protector will heal that one up to full before we do see it again. Very nice fight win for Seneca there. I mean, really just taking advantage of the Aegis timing. I think it was a bit over-ambitious for PMA. Like, maybe, sure, walk up and hit the tower and see what you can do before backing up. But the second he jumped in for those supports, it's a recipe for disaster. And it's kind of exactly what happened to baited the team in. And instead, it's going to be their own base. Tier 3 tower to fall. With PMA spawning. Maybe that's just it. They're going to look forward. Faye has found the Hex onto Morphling. But now in pretty far forward, a couple man hook. Mole finds the cogs onto 3. Dojo and the BKB able to skewer out a pair as well. One of them PMA. PMA hexed up on the back lines, but he's going to be ignored for now as Kurt making some chaos happen on the front with the silences. But Bojuro is able to take him down pretty low, and look at the damage this Puck's able to do. Ends up being the lifestealer with the pair of kills, chasing him all the way back to the fountain. Blank with the rage, able to dodge the wave. Trying to drag him back, and now the Infest inside of the creeps. Gonna back him out to safety. They have lost a couple. Seneca. Run, melee, creep, run. The buyback from JV, and they're going to find the connection on the Puck as well. The RP comes late, so they do lose both throw. They're going to drag on the PMA. He's not able to get the shift off, but the Puck, it's going to catch on the both. PMA, he's healing through it, all the evasion as well. He's healing with the Satanic. He's got more than enough now. He's going to turn on to Blank. Blank hasn't died this game, but it looks like it's all but inevitable as he's going to charge forward towards the supports. It's not enough. Triple kill on the Morphling. GT, they hold. PMA level 27 at the end of it all. MKB allowing him to turn and fight. And look at the swing. 9,000 gold swing. 16k damage on the Morph in that one fight. And it is 5 heroes dead for Seneca. Buyback comes through from the Magnus. They're going to force out the glyph. There will be a second glyph if they kill off a melee Rax, but the hookshot forward, looking for the Treant Protector. 3 hits and he's gone. PMA has the damage Doge. They're going to try the hook, pull back onto the Clockwork. This is going to be one bridge too far. He's going to buy back immediately. He's going to TP into the gate as well, and they're going to try and just take the base. There is a buyback on Lifestealer, holding it for now. He will end up committing. Overgrowth on the front. It's going to connect onto everybody, but PMA able to jump out of it, able to purge it off. PMA now standing toe-to-toe against Blank MKB. Maybe it's enough, maybe not. He's held in place, stunned up, now trying to heal. Healing back to full with the Satanic, turning forward, now jumps through. Needs to kill off this Tinker. He's going to get hexed up, but no. Faye able to escape off to the side with the Force Staff. Now hexed on the Morphling, and he does fall 100 seconds on the deck. PMA, he was the damage. He was the one holding the minute, and he's going to be dead. As now it's the cleanup crew for Seneca. Things got a little bit close for comfort there. At the end of the day, they'll take down 3. Instant buybacks come through from both Kurt and Cephos. But these are not the difference-making heroes, as it really is just the Morphling on the GT side. And he is not going to have it for, actually, it's for gold. It's for 350 gold. They tried with the bounty runes. Bull went out to go and get it. But it's not enough. There's 2 bounties on the other side. Still wouldn't be enough gold. See if Morphling's able to convince the enemies to destroy one of his items. What is the drag back onto Cephos? This is the die back, and they're just going to find it as well. 110 no Kunkka. 38 seconds for the Morphling as the Georgia Tech team trapped inside of the fountain. Tier 4 towers not yet under siege. As the last round of the glyph gonna be forced from Georgia Tech. Mega Creep's gonna be the target first for Seneca. They'll take it. Now the tier 4s starting to be hit. Blank going to town. 1 tower's gone. Second one's gonna fall as well. There's no glyph for the Ancient. 7 seconds for Morphling, but they need to hold. They need to hold now. The heroes gonna be forced to throw bodies in. Mole looking for the angle, doesn't quite have it. The drag back onto the RP as well. Hook shot through the back line. PMA's up, but the Ancient, it's so low. 200, 400 HP, 500 HP. It's not gonna be enough. It's gonna fall. GG gets called. A little bit of a thriller towards the end there. Seneca, they're gonna claim there was no doubt. There might have been a little bit of doubt. PMA tried his absolute best. At the end of the day, 1v9 Dota really just doesn't work. In today's day and age, people have too much farm. People just have too much farm for it. The supports have more than enough. And you could see it. I mean, Tinker with the key hex timing. That's on top of all of these support items with the heals, with the aura as well. Just ends up able to transition. Picked up the F-Blade that I didn't even get to see. Sure. But I did want to check on this Morphling damage number, and only 61,000. That surprises me. I thought there was going to be way more Morph damage coming through just based on how much he was able to output in the last couple of fights. But ultimately, I guess it just comes down to not being able to join enough fights early on for PMA instead. Just kind of forced off to the side until 35 plus minutes and was close to being the difference maker. I mean, he really, really was close to being the difference maker on PMA. My prediction nearly, had life. That GT was going to come back into it and, make it a series. And ultimately didn't happen. Georgia Tech down 2-0, or down to 0-2 on the season, I should say. Seneca up to 2-0 on the season. And, I don't really have more thoughts for the series. We've kind of gone through them. So instead, just going to talk a little bit about, what this league looks like. This is week 2 of a 7-week regular season. And even for those who have been around the league back when it was NACE, now that it's Playfly, it's going to look a little bit different, especially because we're running this 8-team league. Still going to have 3-round playoffs at the end. So what does that mean for us? If you're not in the loop, we're running a modified 6-team playoff where the top 6 are going to qualify, right? Instead of historically, it's been the top 4 out of the group qualify for the playoffs. Now it's going to be the top 6 teams qualify for playoffs with 2 teams eliminated. But the overall top 2 are going to qualify for the first round bye as well. So round 1 of the playoffs is going to be the 3rd seed versus 6, the 4th seed versus 5, right? And then the 1st and 2nd overall seed from the group stage are going to come in and finish out the rest of the playoff run. So what that does mean for us is I think it's actually going to make a more exciting group stage going forward, because teams that are, down low 0-2 now, teams that are up at the top, there's a lot more to play for throughout the season. So it's not like, oh, you lost 2 series, now your season's over, or, oh, you won 2 series, you can, just chill and relax for the rest of the season. No, there's a lot to play for through the rest of the season. So don't want to harp on, we're not in playoff situation yet, but it's one of the things that, with the league ever evolving, I think it's important to just get out there, because we really don't have the most sources of, truth or information in the league unless you really are paying attention and trying to, scoop it all up and, enjoy. So just to put that one forward so everyone's on the same page, right? Ultimately, it's going to be a pretty disappointing week for Georgia Tech. It's going to be a very, very exciting week for Seneca, and really showing their new and improved roster and the potential of what they've got. Looking forward to next week. Just going to give the matchups for these teams if I can't pull them up. Would have been nice to have these open already, right? But what can you do? So looking forward to next week. Georgia Tech are going to try and come back against RIT Orange. That is the RIT A team. So going to try and make something happen there. And this exciting Seneca team is actually going to take on UBC. That'll be a great matchup, I think, Seneca versus UBC, because UBC is a very interesting case. They actually went for the Michigan Special week 1. They had a 60-something minute game against Michigan, who somehow every single series Michigan plays seems to go 8 hours long. I don't know how they make it happen, but that is what is going on. And UBC is another one of those teams that has been just interesting to me, because they were one of the scariest teams in the whole league as recently as last season, and they just have not shown up so far this fall season. They did take the series against Michigan 2-1 week 1. Got to tune into that one on the Michigan cast, which actually I believe Michigan are casting now as well, or at least they're playing now. So go make sure you check them out, either on YouTube at Michigan Esports, or I believe Sealy was streaming last week's on Twitch. So go check out at Sealy99 on Twitch. See if Michigan's streaming. I haven't been able to open it up myself, but their game started about 90 minutes ago, so someone can probably confirm whether Michigan is streaming. Go check them out. It's been a lot of fun. But Seneca against UBC. UBC right now is in at 1-1 after their week 2 loss to UCSD. And they, similar to Georgia Tech, have been struggling to find their footing, going from, hot to maybe not. in this season. So it's been an exciting up and down for really all the teams so far, and look forward to bringing you some more Dota throughout this regular season. We will be back here, by the way, non-routine, non-regularly scheduled programming coming your way this weekend. Sunday at 8 p.m. we're going to be here for the University of Toronto versus RIT. It's going to be U of Toronto versus RIT Orange to wrap up our week 2 matchups. That's going to be Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern here at twitch.tv/CoolHandsDota, so make sure you're checking that one out. And of course, we'll be back here Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. Don't have a scheduled match for that one yet, but I will be putting one out this week, as well as a tentative schedule for the regular season going forward. Every Wednesday, 8:30 p.m., we will be here casting some games, so make sure that you're tuning in. Clear the schedule, you know, very important that you're here, and we'll see you every week. But that's all I've got for you. So until then, until Sunday, be here 8 p.m. Until Sunday, we'll see you next time. I'm Cool Hands, signing off. Stay cool, everybody.